from Studio 108. My name is Ollie Peterson.
And my name is Kayla Vienna.
And today our top story revolves around two pieces of performance art. One, the play Ruined by Lynn Nottage about women in the war-torn Congo, and the other, the television show Orange is the New Black, a television series about the plight of women in federal prison. The top story today is how both Ruined and Orange is the New Black showcase the plights of marginalized women,
which in doing so navigates how both situations create oppressive societies against women that perpetrate and advance gender biases that contribute to the already difficult lived experiences of women in these situations.
In both Orange is the New Black and the play Ruined, there are two main circles around which the performances center: Mama Nadi's Girls in the Brothel and Red's prison family.
Both Red and Mama Nadi are the girls' protectors. Mama Nadi's brothel provides a refuge from war, and Red's group gives the girls a support system in prison. She attempts to shield them from the worst of prison society, just as Mama Nadi did her best to shield the girls from most of the horrors of the civil war in the Congo.
But these micro-societies, in and of themselves, both the brothel and the prison, create stifling environments for women.
We turn to our reporter on the scene, Julia Tang, for more information.
Thank you, Kayla. The prison and brothel, for some, are seen as the best alternatives for women who are already living in difficult situations. In Ruined, the brothel was seen by the girls as the better alternative to living in the villages because they had more control over what they did with their bodies. They were at less risk of rape and other heinous acts under the protection of Mama Nadi, even though some say Mama Nadi could have done more to protect the girls. She still kept them protected from the majority of the conflict. For women in prison, however, most did not have a Mama Nadi figure before prison to help them survive. 60% of incarcerated women were not employed full-time when they were arrested, and 37% had incomes under $600 in the month leading up to their arrest, compared with 40% and 28% of men, respectively. Nearly one-third of women were receiving welfare benefits prior to their arrest. So to incarcerated women, prison, which has a bed, shower, meals, a job, and friends, is a much better alternative to where they came from: poverty, employment, etc. Take Tasty, for example. When she was released from prison, she did not have a support system to fall back on. She really struggled to adjust to life outside of prison, as the following video will show you.
Minimum wage is some kind of joke. I got part-time working at Pizza Hut, and I still owe the prison $900 in fees I gotta pay back. I ain't got no place to stay. I was sleeping on the floor of my second cousin's apartment like a dog. And she still got 6 people in 2 rooms. One of the bitches stole my check. I got lice. Everyone I know is poor, in jail, or gone.
Thank you, Julia. To recap, both women in the brothel in Ruined and the majority of the women in Orange is the New Black were already living in difficult situations before they entered either place. But while seen as a refuge, both the brothel and prison exasperated gender stereotypes and biases which contributed to the degradation of the lived experiences for these women.
For example, in Orange is the New Black, the COs exploit the women under their care by beating them, sexually abusing them, and using other slurs and expletives that perpetuate both gender and racial stereotypes. For example,
you are not an agent of God, okay? God can do so much better than you. You must know that, right?
Know what?
Jesus Christ, how the did you survive infancy?
My auntie helped my mom.
That's a rhetorical question! Do you not understand what a fucking rhetorical question is?
In Ruined, the girls, while actively choosing to live at the brothel, are still taken advantage of by soldiers that come in for their services. The men are using the women's body for their own pleasure. For instance, the men force the women to dance provocatively for them, threatening them with implied punishment if their demands are not met, which contributes to the exploitation of the female body, which in turn perpetrates the idea of women existing solely for the pleasure of men, as Simone de Beauvoir discusses in her groundbreaking novel, The Second Sex.
The fact that men in both stories take advantage of women by exasperating their positions of power makes the already difficult lives of these women even more difficult. Both of these works have faced their criticisms. Standpoint theory is applicable here in that it talks about how an individual's own perspectives are shaped by his or her social and political experiences. Nottage faced criticism because people said she couldn't tell the stories of Congolese African women due to the fact that she is from American origin, since she was not ruined herself, could not fully understand what it was like to be branded as ruined. Because Orange is the New Black is told from the point of Piper, a white upper-class Protestant woman, she cannot accurately depict the struggles of the other minority women in the show.
On the flip side, however, one cannot touch on standpoint theory without discussing intersectionality. In Ruined, intersectionality is not as important as it is in Orange is the New Black. The war takes all of these women from different backgrounds and social classes and groups them into one group by a trait they all share, being a woman. Their difference does not matter anymore. Slima, a poor miner, for instance, was at as much risk as Josephine, the daughter of a chief, for being raped. The loss of intersectionality between different ethnicities, in this case, sort of evens out the levels of jeopardy each woman in the Congo experienced. Every woman is at as much risk as any other due to the fact that she is simply a woman.
In Orange is the New Black, on the other hand, intersectionality plays more of a role. You can see this in the different prison groups that form. They form along the lines of ethnicity and race. Women of different races are treated differently in the prison. For instance, Piper was granted furlough, a temporary leave of absence from prison, when her grandmother died. It was such a big deal around the prison because it was rarely ever granted, especially not to women of color. Or take Tasty's situation. If Piper had been the one released from prison, she would have had a support system and other resources to help her, so she wouldn't have to return to prison.
So why does this matter? By analyzing how these women are treated in their safe spaces, it gives us a lens in which to view different situations in our own lives. It allows us to look beyond the obvious. For instance, take Georgia Tech. For the most part, this is a safe space. Students can walk around campus knowing that they have the support they need to exceed academically. For many, college is the better option. Come to Georgia Tech and set yourself up for a great job, or work now. But even then, most jobs require some form of higher education.
On the outside, everything seems fine. But when you look within, you see the less obvious. For instance, 1 in 5 women experience sexual assault on campus over the course of their 4 years. This is happening in our safe space. Not only that, but some students are homeless come the summer, or they may face other challenges and obstacles we may not see upon first glance.
It is important to keep in mind that we are in no way equating war in the Congo to issues on campus, but we're saying that we can learn a lot from Ruined and Orange is the New Black regarding looking past the obvious and making our safe space even safer.